if Caleb Williams goes out and he looks like a number one quarterback, but the Chicago Bears still finish 5-12 or 4-13 or something, nah, we gonna find a way to say he could have done more. He could have done more. Now, I believe in this brother. I believe he was worthy of being the number one overall pick, even though I like Jaden Daniels a lot. I saw 20 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, sacked the league high 68 times, 16 more than any other quarterback in the National Football League. You're damn right they needed to do something. They did it out of necessity.
What if I told you the most hyped college quarterback of the decade tried to Houdini his way out of the NFL draft like it was a bad blind date? Yeah, while most players are crying tears of joy just to get picked, Caleb Williams and his pops were out here plotting like this was Ocean's 11, Draft Edition. They weren't worried about the bag. They were worried about the franchise, and not in the cute we're a family way. No, they thought the Chicago Bears were where football dreams went to die. Caleb was ready to ditch the NFL.
I went back home, talked to my dad, and all of the things that were supposed to be these big things that everybody's been talking about recently. One never happened in the sense of they were all thoughts. They were all ideas. And I think if you're in the situation, I think if your son or daughter, anybody is in a situation to be in that position, I think you think about all of the options and you look at it, the history and the facts and all these different things.
Tap out of the draft and hop into the UFL. The same league The Rock tried to save like 4 times. Who does that? And what happened next is somehow even wilder. But that was just the beginning of the madness. Caleb Williams was a walking highlight reel at USC, armed like a cannon, legs like a Tesla. Decision-making like, well, early season Mahomes, everyone saw him as the next big thing. But instead of embracing the top pick life, his dad Carl Williams went full Hollywood villain.
Take a look at how the Texans attack Caleb Williams on this play. The Texans come out with 3 D linemen on the left side, forcing the Bears to slide to it. This leaves the Bears big on the other side, and the Texans use their twist game to expose it. Blocking D-line twists is not an easy task anyway, but the Texans use their alignments to create as much space as possible. And it's easy to see how Caleb Williams' pocket broke down so quickly on this 3rd and long attempt.
He told anyone who would listen, Chicago is where quarterbacks go to suffer. He might as well have said Soldier Field was built on cursed land. Carl was dead serious. He said the rookie wage scale was a scam, the draft was rigged, and they were exploring all options. And by all options, I mean considering signing with the UFL. Imagine your dad telling the NFL, thanks but no thanks, and pushing you toward the knockoff Walmart version of football instead. And they weren't bluffing.
Caleb Williams said at the press conference, "This is my first time being part of something like this, of losing and this streak going. So I asked questions to the guys that may have lost a bunch of games in a row like this or had losing seasons." So basically, yeah, just asking his teammates how it feels to lose.
Personally, for instance, you got to think about this, that everybody's professionals in the NFL, It's not an easy task to be any professional in America.
Carl met with lawyers, agents, and folks who looked like they type in all caps. It wasn't just talk, it was war. But the next move made things even crazier. This wasn't just an ego trip. Carl had a playbook. He went full football Illuminati and reached out to none other than Archie Manning. Yeah, Eli's dad. The same guy who kept his son out of San Diego like it was a haunted mansion. Archie taught Carl how to play chess with NFL executives.
All he wants is the best for me. And so if anything happens, he's super high-headed, and it's more of like, all right, like, go ahead and go away, reset and things like that. So, love him to death, and things like that. And like I said, super fortunate to have him. But, we have talks about it, understanding that, it's a right place and the right time. And then, there's times where it's not.
Carl wanted Caleb to have leverage, not just on the field, but in the boardroom. He started crunching numbers like he was studying for the LSAT. He said the rookie cap cost his son hundreds of millions and called the CBA the worst in sports history. Meanwhile, every other rookie was doing backflips over getting drafted. Carl was out here reading labor law like it was Game of Thrones. He even considered getting Caleb declared a free agent in 2025 just to let him pick his team.
Look, if he's looking the front side, steps up, feels it, like I said, bails out right here. Watch him. Because those are 2 backside guys. He's like, who cares? Now he turns the corner.
That's not just strategy. That's delusion and determination wrapped in dad energy. But if you thought that was nuts, wait for what came. Next, at the Combine, Caleb had a vibe session with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. Caleb walked out of that meeting saying, "I need to go to the Vikings." He even told his dad, "Let's make it happen." Unfortunately, that was a fantasy. The Bears weren't giving up that pick. Not for Caleb, not for Beyonce. Bears GM Ryan Poles shut that door.
Is it fair, the pressure that fans and media are putting on Caleb Williams going into his second year just because he is the first overall pick? The expectation is that we should be in the playoffs. The expectation is that he should turn this entire team around. Is that a fair assumption for Caleb Williams coming into this?
It doesn't have to be fair. Nothing's fair. There's a lot of pressure on your quarterback because he's one of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. You're one of 32 teams trying to make the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. There's nothing fair about it at all. Nobody cares about fair. Pressure is a constant. That's the way it needs to be treated.
With a smile and a mic drop, "We're drafting you no matter what." That's like telling someone that they're marrying you, whether they like it or not. And there's no prenup. Caleb was stuck. The dream of playing in a city with competent offensive coordinators and semi-functional turf, gone. And the media started catching on. Whispers about entitlement, attitude problems, and too much swagger started swirling. Some teams backed off. The same vibe that made him a star was now making owners nervous. So what did Caleb do when his Hollywood script fell apart?
That's why I came up here today, to address this and actually speak on some of the things that were at this moment out of context, and also some of the things that I want to clarify, like what we just spoke about in the watching film and things like that. Obviously, my information that I know now was not the same as last year, whether it's fronts, defenses, blitzes, whether it's offense and things like that. And that's something that over the years and over time, speaking on it like Case.
Here's where things did a total 180. Caleb visited Chicago, walked the halls, touched the grass, ate some deep dish, probably met some baddies at Nobu. Maybe even saw Soldier Field and thought, F it, it's not that cursed. He met the staff, saw the facility, and told his dad, "I can do it for this team." He realized the roster wasn't a total. Dumpster fire, DJ Moore, solid, Keenan Allen, a vet. The team had promise, so Caleb swallowed the ego, wiped the slate, and told the media he was all in.
Caleb Williams showed up to a Chicago Bulls game to support his local NBA team. So when admin took notice, they gave him a football to sign, and you won't believe what he did next. Would you have framed it or sold it? Let us know in the comments.
He said all the right things, ready to lead, excited for the challenge, glad to be here. It was a complete image flip, but deep down, you could still feel the hesitation. You don't go from "let's call labor lawyers" to "go Bears" overnight without a little side eye. And then came the storm. Let's talk rookie season. On paper, 3,541 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, just 6 picks, solid. But then there's the 68 sacks. That's not football. That's felony assault.
We're thinking about Caleb Williams so far from Arabia's and Mace perspective. From my perspective, if I'm one of them people who had a rough patch in the NFL, I might have slapped the shit out you. If you mean would I look like I be losing in life? Then you go, who you trying to be slick because you young? Don't ask me what it's about to be losing, because obviously I'm here. Don't act like I'm some natural born loser ass nigga. Get your man. Somebody come get your man before it's a problem. Somebody come get your man, because it's about...
The Bears O-line treated Caleb like an unpaid intern. Then the coaching drama started. Shane Waldron got fired mid-season. Matt Eberflus got sent packing after burning more timeouts than a toddler. The locker room wasn't much better. Reports said some vets wanted Caleb benched. That's like showing up to work and your coworkers want you fired before you finish training. He was even watching film alone, like he was grounded. The vibes were so bad, even his teammates didn't help him off the ground.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say there was times of it being more useful. I think at that time of all the things that were going down and where we're at now, many weeks in, new coaches, many weeks in, we're on this freight train and starting to pick up speed, and it's a lot of learning, a lot of things going on. I think the timing of it, it's not ideal.
It was like watching the Titanic and realizing the band already stopped playing. That's how bad it got. So what did the Bears do? They hit the reset button hard. This offseason, Chicago went full HGTV. First thing they did, hire Ben Johnson, the genius behind Detroit's offense. Then came the trench reinforcements, Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, and even Grady Jarrett. They didn't just patch the O-line, they rebuilt it with bricks, mortar, and blood money. Suddenly, Caleb had protection, real weapons, a smart play caller.
Caleb Williams definitely wishes he threw his first career touchdown to literally anyone else on his team. And Rome Odunze is too funny since it was also the first touchdown of his career. So when Caleb went to try and steal the ball from him, Odunze didn't let him so that he could keep it instead.
The Bears even signed guys with last names that sound like they eat nails for breakfast. They spent nearly $200 million upgrading every weak spot. It was the type of makeover that turns a horror movie into a rom-com now. Analysts are saying Caleb has the best setup of any second-year QB in the league. The whole city went from panic to optimism in 3 months. But this story isn't just about the Bears. You've seen this before. Shedeur Sanders, same confidence, same swagger, and the same crash landing.
Boomer Esiason went off on Caleb Williams, calling him entitled, says he needs to shut up. Keep your mouth shut. You're going into the greatest league that's ever been for a sport we all love. You're going to have a chance one day to make $500 million because guys like me and guys before me all went on strike so you could actually make more money. So keep your pie hole shut and go out there and play football and earn your keep, earn your respect. Damn, Boom! I worked with Boomer at CBS for a decade. I have a personal relationship with him. He's always been good to me. But he will now, he get on the radio, get on TV now, he gonna tell you how he really feels.
Went from potential first rounder to fifth round after reports of bad interviews and diva behavior. Sound familiar? Caleb had his share of whispers too, that he acted like a brand, not a baller. But here's the difference. Caleb had better timing and PR. Look further back. Baker Mayfield. Big personality. Up and down results. Kyler Murray. Uber talented. 0 playoff wins. Sam Bradford. Glass Cannon. Ryan Tannehill. Trash early. Turned elite in Tennessee with Derrick Henry and a real coach.
That last thing that was said and all of that, I think was the most important thing, is that I wanted to be here. That I love being here. I love my teammates. I love all the people that got me here, family, friends, Ryan, Kevin, Floose and Shane, all those guys that went through all of that process with me to get me here. But it was all those things, like I said, were thoughts. But the main goal and the main objective of being here is to turn around. That's why I was selected number 1.
The NFL doesn't just need talent; it needs fit. And Caleb's story proves that. All those guys had moments, but the ones who thrive had support, and that's what Carl was screaming about all along. It wasn't ego, it was fear. So where does that leave us? Here's the thing, the NFL isn't a fairy tale. It's more like a reality show where the producers hate you. Caleb's dad might have looked crazy to fans, but let's be honest, how many QBs actually survive bad franchises?
The Bears were supposed to be a better team this year with Caleb Williams than Justin Fields, which is why they traded him for a 6th-round pick instead of trading the 1st overall pick in the draft for a haul to build around Fields. But in their last 8 games, they're 0-8, averaging 14 points a game, while in their last 8 games with Fields, they were 5-3, averaging 24 points a game. Because the only thing generational about Caleb Williams is the trauma he is continuing to inflict on the city of Chicago.
Less than 10% in the rookie wage scale? Sure, it limits upside, but it also guarantees $396 million. That's not struggle. That's generational. Trevor Lawrence, stuck in Jacksonville, but just inked $175 million, and he smiles every Sunday. So maybe Carl overplayed his hand, or maybe he knew the game better than all of us. Either way, Caleb's got a line, a playbook, and a coach who doesn't call HB dive every 3rd down.
No, I'm just saying, I noticed, I Googled it and used it on a 9-game loser. It'd be a problem, man. I'm telling you, don't ask people that. And I get what Arabia may say, and they're both 100% correct. I'm just telling you from the other side of the coin. Who the f is you to think I'm a loser like that you feel comfortable enough to be asking me what it's like to be losing? I'm an NFL player, and I made it here. Ask the Bears what it's like to be losing. Don't come ask me, nigga. I ain't no regular loser. It's the organization.
And now, he's got a real shot. But how will this all play out? Caleb Williams started off dodging the Bears like they were trying to serve him a subpoena. But now, he's the face of the franchise, leading a roster with actual structure.
This whole storm that happened, it wasn't something that we wanted to happen at this point. We're focused on the present. We're focused on now. We're focused on trying to get this ship moving in the right direction. And I think so far that's what we've been doing. But for this to come out, it's been a distraction. So coming up here and talking about it and addressing it is important today. And so that's what we're here to do.
No more leaks. No more lawyer talk. Just football. And if this Bears team actually pulls it together, Carl Williams might go from overbearing dad to genius visionary.
Miss outside and you're out.
But if it flops, every camera will zoom in on that draft day drama and say, you should have trusted the system. So what do you think? Is Caleb Williams the next big thing? Or just the next big headache? Let me know in the comments, because this story isn't over. In fact, it's just beginning.
Chicago is a city where Michael Jordan brought to the center stage. And now you have guys like Caleb Williams. You have guys like Connor Bedard. You want that next superstar. They've been craving that next superstar. They've been craving that championship. You're trying to find that next generational type of player that you can compare to Michael Jordan. And now with Caleb Williams, Chicago has never had a quarterback this time. There's a lot of pressure on this kid.
Stay dangerous, my ninjas. I'm about this bitch. Peace.